Good morning and welcome to our Illinois Caregivers for Compromise Zoom meeting. We're glad to have everyone here. We have an agenda for the first hour of our meeting, and then we will open up for sharing any issues or questions that anyone has. So we'll get started.
Okay, this is Julie. Yes, good news. We finally have a bill number, and it is SB 2160. You can also find this on the ilga.gov site. You can follow it there, or there's also another called Bill Track 50, and you can look up other bills and things too from other states. It's interesting. Right now it is in what's called assignments. So that committee that's on assignments will assign it to a committee. Kind of confusing. Jill thinks that more than likely it will go to public health committee, and that makes sense. So as far as timeline, I honestly do not know. We do have already some people, a couple of people in the House, the House of Representatives have spoken, and they would like to co-sponsor. So that's good news as well. Gosh, as far as that, I really don't have a lot more to say other than, yeah, go look it up. You can read the text of the bill. And I'm just excited about it. And we just need to get the word out. At some point, we will be able to do what's called witness slips. And when it gets to that point, I will definitely put something out there for us all to be able to do that. And I did find like an instruction on how to do that. So when it gets to that point, I will let everybody know. Thank you.
Julie, do you know who the people in the House are that have expressed an interest?
Yes, Charlie Meyer, and then there's someone up north. I cannot remember the name at the top of my head.
Thanks.
There was one person that answered back to that letter.
Yes, and I sent that to Jill as well.
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, yeah, I'm glad somebody read it. So.
Yeah, I do. I bet we have multiple people that are going to jump on board with it, honestly.
Good, great.
Awesome. And also just so you know, it's in the e-blast. I just copied the brief synopsis of the bill. So that was in there, and the direct link to that bill so you can read the whole thing is in the e-blast as well, the link. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
It was a collaboration of the entire group. The letter writing was done by multiple people, and the graphics and everything was done. And that's how our group is working so well together, and how we are stronger together. So the letters, we were hoping to have gone out by now, and the templates are on the files on the Facebook page. They're in a shared Google Doc, and they have been directly emailed to everyone for whom we have an email. We've also added the CDC if you'd like to mail to them.
On the national page, they had a slightly different letter. If anybody wanted to use that, that's what I was referring.
Okay.
We had an idea on Tuesday night at our national meeting that probably not next week, the following week, of putting one, after we're done with the anniversary, of putting one more call of action out and getting everybody to directly letter Biden himself, being the fact that we have a president that says family comes first, and his life usually shows that we're thinking maybe if we got enough people to go directly to Biden, obviously he's not going to read them all, but somebody in his office will start counting them, tracking them, all the rest, that this might be a possibility. So
What if we do Biden and Harris?
We could do that too. I actually was going to ask Jill if, obviously we don't need to change much, because what we're going to do is ask people to write a personal letter. Don't use a format. Please write a personal letter. But, so then all we would need is, once we get the right information of how you get it there, if Jill could change the graphics minorly to do that for us.
Sure.
I think this could be a big step in the right direction. We have nothing to lose. And one of our concerns came out of after listening to the new lady from the CDC, she's going to be very hard to budge. So we need the president now.
What if
Is
we do
that-
Biden and Harris and then our own federal legislators?
We can do that too. Obviously we can give people lots of ideas how to do it, but the big focus for that will be, Biden and Harris. I agree, maybe going after both of them. And obviously we as Illinois will have a lot of letters that need to go out because of the bill. But I bought us 2 reams of yellow paper yesterday to bring to Springfield so we can all do whatever we need with it. So I just wanted to add that while we're at it. So, if you start thinking about it, whatever, I will bring you yellow paper to Springfield so everybody can put their letters in a yellow envelope on yellow paper.
Good.
So we know the gathering, it's officially begins at 11, but there's gonna be a effort to start putting up the signs in the grass on each side of the statue around 8:30. How long we're there likely depends on the weather. I think when I last looked, there is a forecast of rain that day, but it was like 35%. So hopefully that won't, I think now it's up to 50%. But anyway, hopefully that it comes later in the day or something, not while we're up there. Last week we talked about the parking meters. It was on the news that very night that they are not going to require money. They were going to start on March 1st, requirement you plug the meter again, but not the case. So we've talked about wearing yellow if you can. We do have a PA system. I saw somebody had arranged, I think Carrie had gotten
Yes.
that and arranged to rent one of those. So is that still, you didn't have anybody pop in and say they had one, did you, Carrie?
No.
No.
And at this point, once I signed the contract, we're obligated anyway. So,
Okay.
and this way we're guaranteed it works because it's,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Yes, good. That's excellent.
It gets microphone, speaker, it stands on a stand. It runs off a battery pack. And she's going to teach me how to use it when we pick it up.
How long does the charge last, and can you plug multiple microphones into it?
I'll have to ask.
Because
but-
we could bring additional mic.
I also want to find out if it Bluetooth, which I'm 90% sure she said it did, because somebody wrote a song that I have to download and I haven't done it yet. That was actually written about this from a parent's perspective, a resident's perspective, whatever. I haven't totally listened to it yet and a child's perspective. But if I can get it downloaded and as I'm 90% sure that thing Bluetooth, we can also use that. Because all the caregivers were given access to use that song publicly.
Back to the yellow, just Jan's made some cloth signs. Janice has bought disposable yellow masks, and I think it was Hobby Lobby had yellow t-shirts on sale I saw the other day. And then making posters, Janice, one of the things I put was my son needs his mother's touch. That was the one way back when we first started. So we're asking people to make posters, personalize them if you want pictures. Lucy had an awesome picture made at Walgreens on self-adhesive. They call it adhesive posters, I think, or something like that. And then you can stick them on poster board.
You can put you can pick the color of your background and you can put
Let me stop. sharing.
embellishment
Do that.
and letters, write something, whatever you want.
That's neat.
Thanks,
So,
Lucy, for sharing.
Really
that.
easy to do, and they've got a 40 or 50% off coupon, so it's like it was $9 total.
My idea was just an offshoot from the initial idea about a roll call. And I just suggested that instead of a roll call, different people in the group would read or have snippets of people's personal experiences and or statistics to go back and forth and just read those. And I thought that there was, tons of things already on Facebook and in the videos that Fran has been working on and things like that, that we could take it from. So where it's gone from that point, I'm not real sure.
Is anybody that's gonna be there wanting to kind of spearhead it, like have a clipboard, so if someone's interested that we could say, hey, go see this person, so we make sure everyone gets an opportunity to share. And also that way, if media asked who that was speaking, we could say,
Sorry, Lucy did say, we talked about it on Tuesday, and Lucy said she could do that.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was what you asked me to do or
Yes.
not.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I will
Absolutely.
bring a clipboard and try to get,
well, yeah, okay, I'll print up a little spreadsheet where you can just put the person's name, maybe the facility their loved one is in, and just something brief, and then will that work, Lucy?
yep, that's
Where you
good.
can, okay.
And I think
Um,
it's great to use it that way. I wasn't thinking that initially, but what I was thinking is that we would just have, we'd just have a page of these things, and everybody who was gonna be able to take the mic and say a few lines would have the same sheet. You could just make it very simple.
So we could fine tune it a little bit prior to that.
People share their stories and or like statistics about this, because all my digging, and I'm sure all of your digging as well, there are so many studies about loneliness, so many of them, like it's overwhelming how many studies there are, and that's data, and none of it ends well, like none of it's good. So I think that's something important we could talk about as well. We can point out a lot of those things. But if you're just
And
asking that like each of us have something organized, like written down in case we're lined up to speak, is that what you're asking?
yeah,
I think that's
something
a good idea.
What
Yeah,
I was thinking is that we would gather these ideas from all of us, not just individually, and not just make it up out of our head, but have it all
Fair.
written out if possible. I don't know if that's possible, but
I somewhat agree with you, Jill, but I do think that we kind of need to be spontaneous somewhat too.
also,
Because
yeah.
I do think that when you're telling your story from the heart and you're not going by script, that can come across more genuine than just reading from a paper. But I do get your idea about getting some already pre-printed kind of quotes from Facebook. Some of those stories I think would also, and we could fill in the blanks with that as well. I think we could do a combination of both.
Both.
Yeah.
I agree, both. And
yeah. How about if we do this, that everybody that's going to be there that is on here now, and that would probably be quite a few, kind of think about what you would say yourself at your personal story, and maybe grab one, whether it's a paragraph out of a news article or a Facebook, something else. So we end up with two things, and whether you give it to somebody else to read or then we'd have 6 or 8 people at least that would speak.
Yeah, that sounds good, Tammy.
Yeah.
Jody,
that sounds great.
since you brought up that looking at the at those statistics and the data, would you be able to
I'll share them. I've been
get a
collecting
page of them or something together?
Yes, absolutely. That was something else that I wanted to bring up. I think we should be careful about, or I don't know, mentioning names of facilities. I think Fran,
Yeah, we don't really do that.
okay, because I don't want any kind of retaliation.
I think we can tell what area we're from, but yeah, I wouldn't give the facility name either.
Okay.
When I was meaning that, I was just kind of more along the line referring to like a county, and perhaps if you're in a SNF, an ICFDD, memory assisted, anything like that. That was more along the lines of about which I was thinking.
Yep.
Can I just mention something real quick? That maybe we should, kind of get a idea of what everyone is going to talk about. Because like, we don't want all the stories to be about loneliness, and we don't want all the stories about, whatever, so maybe have a few different angles, I guess. So we know what your angle is, you know what I mean?
Well, I think we'll be able to use, even if they're all about loneliness, each person's story is so unique. Each family, each loved one, how you were able to access how your loved one, their even what they're dealing with. But I hear what you're saying, Janice. Part of it is it's going to get really, we're asking people to write these up. We're asking them to get this information in, and you don't even know who's going to be there. So it might get a little too difficult to capture it all together is maybe what I'm trying to say.
I think
Yeah.
what Fran said is really important too. Everyone's story is different. Like it might all right now sound the same, but everyone's story is very unique. But another point that can be talked about is, how is this legal? Like, how is it that people, just because they need care and they're in a facility, that they don't have any right to a loved one? They're not criminals. It's been a year, and early on we understood why, but now here we are a year later and they're still locked up. It's extremely disturbing because we also have nowhere to reach up, because at a state level this is what they have set in place. So it's not even just the facilities, it's high up too, and it's an infringement of basic human rights is what it is. And the only reason I think that it's gone away this long is because most of the people, not all of them, but most of the people in these long-term care facilities, they don't have a means to speak out for themselves. They're not on social media with cell phones, tablets, computers. A lot of them have disabilities, cognitive or physical. They don't have a way to speak out and say, hey, I'm not doing well. Hey, I need a loved one. So it really is up to us to speak out for their rights, because they don't have a platform. A lot of them don't have a platform to do that. And it's wrong. It's horrible, because I can't imagine being them.
You're right, Jody.
Yep.
Sometimes we've likened it to prison, but in prison, the state is paying. I mean, we're paying a lot of money every month and not even allowed the privilege of making decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all feelings that we have.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
What was your question, Jill?
So forgive my ignorance about Facebook Live, but can people do ongoing questions and comments while you're doing that? We did at Christmas, I don't know if it was Facebook or I can't remember, but we did something where the facility was showing us giving the residents our, Christmas presents and everything. And we were writing comments, and the activities director would take our comments and read them out loud and, interact. Is that something that's possible to do with the Facebook Live?
Yeah, you can, people can comment as you're live streaming.
So maybe close to time, which is pretty soon, maybe we could tell people to, I know you're talking about live streaming, but maybe we could also say something about that.
Yeah, we're going to stream to our group page. And then we need to start putting all of this information as we share it into the event page as well.
You could put that on the event page, would be a good way to say, and then it would come up.
Because
We
our event shares, I think, directly into our group too.
Yeah.
Anything we post in the event should post into our group. Carrie had posted something in the comments about the places we had signs. Oh, Peggy, while Tammy's looking at the chat, you're gonna have that handout, right? To hand out to everybody, the half sheet.
Yes, I'm gonna have that to hand out. Yeah, as it is. We talked the other day, I think there was only 4 of us. We did like a little Zoom, and I know we talked about maybe modifying it to put something regarding the bill, but then I think we decided against that we would leave that separate. So yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, which is basically, just kind of what we're about. And yeah, how many does everybody think I should print? Because I'm taking it this weekend to the office to have them print it. What does everybody think?
What is it?
50. It's just a little half sheet page for people that might not know what Caregivers for is about. It's kind of
Yeah,
like,
like if somebody's walking by, and I mean, maybe I'll print out some extra, because if anyone wants to take them with them to have, like, to pass out, like,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's good information.
Yeah.
It's called
Yeah.
like leafleting, like passing out information to passerbys.
yeah.
right. Like I pass them out when I'm sometimes at my mom's facility. If I see someone in the parking lot, I'll, that I know is like visiting someone at a window, or, yeah,
If you can email that, I think.
it's in our files section.
Oh, it is.
It's,
Okay.
it's in the folder, it's in the file section. It's also in the folder of latest information that we've shared. Illinois Caregivers for Compromise. In the e-blast that you get in the bottom of it, it always shares a link for latest information. It's in there. If you click on that, it'll take you to all of that information. But this is that sheet, right? That you're talking about, Peggy?
Correct.
It
Yes.
was in the email we got yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it
Yeah.
was in the latest, everything. It's at the very bottom of that email, the e-blast.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, so this is that. So I'm just going to print this out the way it is. And I think Carrie said she was going to look into maybe printing out maybe like some almost like business cards or something that had the bill number on.
Down here at the bottom, this link right here. Can you see that? No. That,
Yes.
if you click that, that takes you to a folder that has a multitude of all the latest guidelines. It has the links and information, the agendas and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Peggy.
Yep.
So Carrie said she has 8 places besides when we have them in Springfield at the Capitol so far for them to go. I know it's been out on Facebook if anybody had a place in mind. She didn't say where they were. So as far as volunteers and that, we'll have to find that out. If it's close to, if it's close to any of us, I'd be happy to help. I'm sure everybody else would too, for putting them up and taking them down. But the intent is to we have 400 signs, so we could have 2 different places with 200 each at a time. So, and anyway, it feels like it's kind of fallen into place. I don't know that there's a lot more to really say about it, but if you know some place in your town, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think what we said Tuesday when we were on the call, I mean, it was just Julie, Carrie, Lucy, and I, is the hope is maybe once it starts going and we're posting, pictures, maybe more people will step up and, get and volunteer. So
And the intent is to try to get media too there. What Texas found was the first couple ones, they didn't have really any interest, but then as the snowball started, by the 3rd or 4th one, they had the media following them around the state. So that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
And just for anyone that hasn't seen them, these are the signs. And then there's a couple of banners that were made to go in the midst of each set of traveling signs.
Do you know if we have to get like permission from the town or the village?
I think it'll probably depend each place where you go. There's been discussion about that.
Okay. I mean, I know if it's like your own field, you could do it, but if you put it somewhere, do you have to go get some kind of?
Even your own yard, in some areas, you would have to get a temporary permit.
Okay.
In Lake County, I was looking into it and I haven't talked to anybody about it, but you just can't have like more than, one sign or something. You can't have like a big display.
Like on a parkway or.
So it's been suggested to ignore it and plead, ignorance, but I will not do that up here.
Yeah, I don't. I checked, one state was doing it at city parks, but our city park in Springfield, the park district, they have a rule against it. So I'm sure if you volunteer to do it, you probably should find out if your area has a
Exactly.
sign. I don't think, I mean, I think that's up to whoever volunteers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We're talking about leaving them there 3 to 5 days.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Up to 3 days or 3 to 5. Okay.
Something
Depending
like
on the media probably coverage.
Yeah, and when the volunteers are available to take them back down, probably.
Yeah.
So I have some good places. I have contact in the mayor's office of Gurnee where, my mom's facility is located. But I need some suggestions. I mean, where was that collage picture that you showed a minute ago, Fran? Do you have that in there? Because what I need is maybe that,
Sorry.
that card that you're talking about, and so that I can explain what we're doing when I try to communicate,
Have
for
you,
the,
Jill, have you watched the video from Texas? I mean, they kind of describe it very well, and it shows, there's a video from Texas, if you go on
Okay.
their page, and
okay,
it explains it very well, and really, we're just trying to call attention to the situation.
And I actually snagged the collage photo that you see there, Jill. I snagged that off of Facebook this morning.
yeah, okay,
I'll email it to you.
okay.
Facebook profile frame. It's still out there. It's up in the announcements. The link. Actually, if you just click on that picture of the Facebook profile frame in the announcement, it takes you straight there, and it'll let you change your profile picture if you want. Hashtags, once again, they populate all our posts together, stronger together. Voices are stronger together with our hashtags, and those are the ones we're using. And Jody, this is what you were asking about. What you were asking. This is that webinar.
Yeah, I have it in my calendar because I know I can attend it, and I saw Evan Schulman, which was one of the people that I saw to send the letters to. So that's one that I sent a ton of letters to. So I'm like, I want to hear what he has to say.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie said they're actually going to record that, what'd she say, on Saturday? So
Friday.
they know,
I think Friday.
okay, Friday, so there aren't any technical glitches. So they lose it, and then they will put out the link to where you can watch it on March 10th.
This is the website that you see that it's the national website that all the information can be found. And it starts way up here, and then down here is the anniversary webinar, and there's a direct link to it. So I'm sure when you click on this link, it will take you to the video once it's recorded.
Excellent.
And Carrie was hoping they'd make it available to put on YouTube also.
So next Thursday will be in the evening, correct? Yeah, because
Yeah.
today, yes. So next Thursday, the 11th, 7 p.m. So the odd Thursdays, yeah, are in the morning, and then the even Thursdays are in the evening at 7 p.m.